Hello everyone. So I am back with the third lesson, part 2, production and employment. So here the second part, it includes the employment, the working life in India. So here today we'll discuss about the organized and unorganized sector. So before going to that, we discuss about the employment structure. So here the GDP of a country has a very close relationship with the total number of working people in that country, because in every country the population increases. It is essential that the country should provide opportunities for those who are looking for work. So unless they get the employment to earn money, so how could they get food and other necessities to fulfill their requirements? So here whatever census of India 2011 says, so out of here 1.2 billion persons in India population, so here only 460 million people are working. So that is people engaged in some productive activities, so which are given in your textbook table. So if you observe here, there are three different sectors: agriculture sector, industrial sector, and the service sector. So here the place of a residence, that is rural and the urban, and the sex is male and female. So all the workers together, how many people are working in each different sector? So if you observe here, in agriculture sector, in a rural area 59.8% people are working, and in urban area 6.6 people are working. So in that 40.7% are male and 57.2% are female. So altogether agriculture sector, they are working in agriculture sector are 44.6%. If you observe in the same in industrial sector, in rural area 20.4% people are working in rural area, and 34.3% are working in the urban, and the male is 26.4% and female is 17.7%. So altogether 24.4% people are working in the industrial sector. And coming to the service sector, so 19.8% people are working in rural area, and 59.1% are working in urban area. And in this the males are 32.8 and females are 25.2. So altogether 31% are engaged in service sector. And if you compare these three sectors, the number of people working in agriculture sector are more, and less people are working in industrial sector. Then after the second place goes to service sector, number of people working in the service sector after agriculture sector. So here in India there has been a change in the share of these three sectors in GDP. So here in place of employment, these three in a graph, this three shows agriculture sectors continue to be the largest employer even today. So why did not employment shift out of agriculture sector? Because it is not enough jobs were created in the industry and the service sector. Do you understand? So here if you observe in the above table, the three sectors, among the three sectors, the agriculture is providing more employment opportunities to the people. So why here the number of employment opportunities were not increased in the industrial sector? Because here more than half of the workers in the country are working in the agriculture sector, producing only 1/6 of the GDP. So that means very less GDP to the nation. Do you understand? So here in our country, out of 1.2 billion population, so here half of the population is engaged in agriculture activities, and as a more percentage of a population are engaged in agriculture activity, but the contribution of GDP to the nation is very less. So here the contribution of GDP from the agriculture sector is only 1/6%. So here in contrast to this, the industry and the service sectors produce 3/4 of the GDP, whereas they employ only about half of the proportion of the workers. And this means the workers in agriculture are not producing as much as they could. So I think you understand here. So here as half of the percent of the population are engaged in working agriculture sector, but now they are producing only 1/6 of the GDP of the nation, whereas half of the population whereas engaged in industrial sector and the service sector, but they are producing 3/4 of the GDP to the nation. So here if you observe in contrast, so this means the workers in agriculture sector are not producing as much as they could. So it means there are more people in agriculture, but everyone may not be fully occupied. So here, if the people move out, production will not be affected. In this way, more number of people are engaged than required in agriculture, and this is called the disguised unemployment. So here, the disguised unemployment is nothing but, so if you observe in agriculture sector, there are more people than required who are working in agriculture, and they are not fully occupied. So here, if few people they move out from this agriculture sector to the next sectors, so it doesn't affect to this agriculture sector, and that is contribution to the GDP, because more people are engaged in then required in agriculture sector, and this type of employment which is known as a disguised unemployment. If we look at in case of a small farmer's family, so here the example from the textbook of 10th class state syllabus. So here the Gayatri example. So here who owns about 2 hectares of unirrigated land. So here this Gayatri's family, they depended on rain for growing the crops like jowar and red gram throughout the year. So here there are 5 members in a Gayatri's family. All 5 members of her family work on the plot throughout the year. Why? Because they have now here else to go for work. So here if you see, everyone is working from her family and no one remains the idle. So but in actual fact, their labor effort gets divided. So that means what they are working on that plot is the work is divided among themselves, and each one is doing some work, but no one is fully employed. అంటే గాయత్రి ఫ్యామిలీ 5 మంది వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారు వాళ్ళు చిన్న ప్లాట్ పైన. ఇక్కడ అందరూ కూడా కంప్లీట్గా వర్క్ అనేది చెయ్యట్లేదు. ఆ చిన్న ప్లాట్ పైన వర్క్ చేయడానికి 5 మంది కష్టపడుతున్నారు. అంటే వాళ్ళ వర్క్ని అందరి మధ్యలో డివైడ్ చేసుకుంటున్నారు అనమాట. సో ఈ వర్క్ అందరూ డివైడ్ చేసుకోవడం వల్ల అందరూ కూడా ఫుల్గా ఎంప్లాయ్ చేయట్లేదు, అంటే ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ వర్క్ చేయట్లేదు అనమాట. సో హియర్ in fact, actual fact, the labor effort gets divided. So each one is doing some work, but no one is fully employed. So this is the situation of the people who are underemployed. So if we observe here, the people are working, but all of them are made to work less than their potential. అంటే వాళ్ళు చెయ్యగలిగిన దానికంటే కూడా తక్కువ వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారు అనమాట. ఎందుకు? వర్క్ అనేది అందరి మీద షేర్ చేసుకోవడం వల్ల. సో దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ అండర్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ఈజ్ హిడెన్ ఇన్ కాంట్రాస్ట్ టు సమ్ వన్ హూ డస్ నాట్ హ్యావ్ ఎ జాబ్ అండ్ క్లియర్లీ విజిబుల్ యాజ్ అ అన్ఎంప్లాయిడ్. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఒక పర్సన్ ఒక డిగ్రీ చదువుకుని జాబ్ చేయగలుగుతాడు, కానీ అక్కడ సిచ్యువేషన్స్ ఎలా ఉంటాయంటే వర్క్ దొరకనందుకు, వర్క్ లేనందుకు వాళ్ళ ఇంట్లోనే ఆ వర్క్స్ అనేటివి ఫ్యామిలీతోటి కలిసి వర్క్ షేర్ చేసుకుని ఆ వర్క్ చేసుకుంటూనే ఉండిపోయి ఒక అన్ఎంప్లాయిడ్ పర్సన్ లాగా కనిపిస్తూ ఉంటాడనమాట. సో దిస్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ విచ్ ఈస్ నోన్ యాజ్ అన్ అండర్ ఎంప్లాయిడ్ ఆర్ disguised unemployment. So here, if any one landlord hires 1 or 2 members of the family to work on their plot or land, so here the Gayatri's family will able to earn some extra income through their wages. So here, if you do not need 5 people to look after that small plot, so the two people moving out does not affect the production on their farm. So ఇక్కడ మీకు అర్థమైందా? అంటే గాయత్రి ఫ్యామిలీకి ఉన్న చిన్న ప్లాట్ పైన లైక్ 5 మెంబర్స్ ఆర్ వర్కింగ్. అదే కనుక గాయత్రి వాళ్ళ ఫ్యామిలీలో ఇంకా ఎవరికైనా జాబ్ అనేది ఎవరైనా కలిగిస్తే కనుక ఈ ఇద్దరు అటు వర్క్కి డైవర్ట్ అయితే ఇక్కడ గాయత్రి వాళ్ళ ఫ్యామిలీలో వాళ్ళకున్న చిన్న ప్లాట్లో వర్క్ చేయడానికి ఎలాంటి ఇబ్బంది ఉండదు. ఎందుకంటే ఆ చిన్న ప్లాట్లో 5గురు ఫుల్గా వర్క్ చేయట్లేదు, వర్క్ అనేది డివైడ్ చేసుకుని వాళ్ళు చెయ్యగలిగిన దానికంటే కూడా తక్కువ వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారు. అట్లాంటప్పుడు ఈ గాయత్రి ఫ్యామిలీలో నుంచే ఇద్దరు కనుక వేరే జాబ్ చూసుకుని అటు డైవర్ట్ అయితే ఇక్కడ మనకి అగ్రికల్చర్ సెక్టార్లో అంటే సో ఇదే విధంగా అగ్రికల్చర్ సెక్టార్లో చాలామంది ఉన్నారు. అక్కడ వాళ్ళకి ఉన్న వర్క్ కంటే కూడా చేయడానికి ఉన్న దానికంటే కూడా దానికి మించిన వర్కర్స్ ఉన్నారు. కాబట్టి ఈ అగ్రికల్చర్ సెక్టార్ నుంచి కొంతమంది కనుక సర్వీస్ సెక్టార్కి కానీ ఇండస్ట్రియల్ సెక్టార్కి కానీ డైవర్ట్ అయితే కనుక అగ్రికల్చర్ సెక్టార్కి వచ్చే నష్టం ఏమీ ఉండదన్నమాట. సేమ్ లైక్ గాయత్రి ఫ్యామిలీ, because like the 5 people are engaged in working on their small plot. So if 2 people they can move to work on others land, so where they can earn more wages, so which will be helpful to the Gayatri family as they can earn more money. So here these three people, they can keep their efforts and fully they can work on their small plot. So here there are lakhs of farmers like a Gayatri family in India. So here this means that even if several people from agriculture sector are provided with the proper works elsewhere in any other sectors, so here the agriculture production will not decrease, and the income of the people who take up other works would increase the family's income. So here there is an underemployment can also happen in other sectors like the service sector and the industrial sector. Like example, there are thousands of casual workers who works in the service sector in urban areas, like they'll be in search of a daily employment, and they are employed as a painters, plumbers, repair persons and other doing odd jobs. So here many of them, they don't find the work every day. So similarly, so here other people of the service sector on the streets pushing a cart or selling something, so where they may spend the whole day but earn very little, and they are doing this work because they do not have a better opportunities. So I hope you understand. So there is an underemployment, same like in agriculture. So here there is an underemployment in other sectors like the service sector and the industrial sector. So the people, they are engaged in daily employment, but here the people, they are working like in a painters, okay, the painters and what we say repair persons and many other activities they are doing, but here they don't get the work opportunities regular basis. So here if we observe, there are also other people who are working in the service sector who are pulling the carts and selling something, so here where they spend their whole day on working but they earn very little, and they are doing this work because they don't find any other opportunities to work. So to lead their life, they have to work. So here, while this service sector has grown, all the service sector activities are not growing equally. So here it means the service sector is contributing more GDP to the nation. That means the service sector has grown than the about two sectors of agriculture and the industrial sector. But here there are several service activities in the service sector, whereas all the service activities are not grown equally. And this service sector in India employs many different kinds of people. So at the one end, there are limited number of services that employ highly skilled. So if we observe, at one corner there are many people who are educated and then limited number of services that employ highly skilled people only. So at the other end, there are a large number of workers engaged in service activities such as small shopkeepers, repair persons, transport persons, etc. These people barely manage to earn a living, and yet they perform these services because no alternative opportunities for work are available to them. So only a part of this sector is growing is importance. So here what do you understand here? So here the service sector is growing more comparing to the above two sectors, but all the service activities are not growing equally, because in service sector some people, they are who are working in a service sector who are highly skilled and the educated people. But at the another hand, so here there are many people who are engaged in doing service activities such as small shopkeepers, repair persons, transport persons and etc. So these people, they earn very little because they have to lead their life, and these people, they doesn't have any other opportunities to earn the money. So that is why the service sector activities are not growing equally. Only certain service activities are growing, and which is contributing more GDP comparing to above two sectors. Comparing to the above two sectors, the service sector is contributing more GDP to the nation. Next, coming to the organized and unorganized sector employment in India. So here so far we have seen how different sectors contribute to the GDP of India, and also realize that comparative importance of these three sectors, and this helps us to analyze the shifts that take place or don't take place for both the production and employment. For example, for our country we don't see a substantial shift in employment, and to explore this, and we use another method of classification focusing on the nature of employment. So here the classification discussed below emphasizes the problems of employment and the association conditions of a work even more starkly. So here we can understand the difference between this organized sector and the unorganized sector with the help of examples given in our textbook. So here we have understand how these three sectors are contributing the GDP to the nation. So here, and we also realize this comparative importance of these three sectors, how the people are engaged in these three sectors, and these three sectors how they are contributing the percentage of GDP to the nation. So here now we discuss, like here there is a Narsima who works in a government office. Like he attends his office from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and he uses his motorbike to travel to his office from his house. And this office is about 5 kilometers away from his house, and he gets the salary regularly at the end of every month, and that will be deposited in his bank account. So in addition to his salary, he also gets provident fund as well as the rules laid down by the government. So he also gets the medical and other allowances, some privileges. So here Narsima does not go to our office on Sundays, which are paid holidays. So here when he joined work, he was given an appointment letter starting all terms and conditions of his work. So here the Narsima is working in an organized sector. He is one of the government employee. So here like every day he is having like a fixed timings and the rules and regulations that are to be followed by him regularly, and like every Sunday he is having a holiday, so which is to be paid actually, so which is a paid holiday. That means though the Sunday is not a working day, but on that day also the salary is included in his monthly salary. And like he'll be having some privileges like medical facilities, and also like provident from and other allowances will be there. These benefits were there to this Narsima as he works in the organized sector. So every month like end of the month he will be paid his salary. So here like there are no difficulties to get his salary, so he will be having the work on the regular basis, and he'll be getting all the public holidays and the government holidays and even Sundays also. So these are all the paid leaves. So there are certain benefits in the organized sector because all the rules and regulations were set by the government offices. So here they set all the rules and regulations for all the employees who will be working in the organized sector. So all the rules and regulations are arranged systematically that are to be followed by the workers in organized sector. Now let us understand the unorganized sector with the help of a Rajeshwari example from the textbook. So here Rajeshwari is working as a construction worker, and she goes for work at 7 a.m. and returns home at 7 p.m. and she travels about 8 to 10 kilometers daily for work by bus. And construction work get 1 hour lunch break between 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and she gets work only for 10 to 12 days a month. So on the remaining days she has no work and she does not get any wages. She gets only rupees 150 per day as a wages. So mostly she is paid the wages on the same day in the evening. When she works for the 3 or 4 days at the same day, she is paid after the work is completed. And she gets more work from February to June. July to January is unseasonal, and Rajeshwari is a member of a self-help group in her locality. The government will pay some compensation in case of a death or a major injury while she is at work, and there is no help from the government for the treatment in accidents while working. And she is also a part of a group that works under a mason. So there are 6 to 10 workers under each mason. So here the mason is a person who works with stones. So here like according to this Rajeshwari example, she is one of the labor worker, and she used to work in the construction work, and every day she starts from her house by 7 a.m. and she returns to her home by 7 p.m. So in between like she is working for she has to travel 8 to 10 kilometers from her house to work. Okay, so here like the construction works in construction works they get only 1 hour lunch break in between 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and here their work is not fixed, they'll not get the regular work, so sometimes like they may not get the work on the regular basis. So here in organized sector the work is not fixed. So here this Rajeshwari, like she used to get a 10 to 12 days work in a month, and that is also during the seasonal times. So that means from the time of January to June, like it is a season, she gets more work to do, and like she used to get only 150 rupees in the form of a wages, and that wages are paid every day once she finishes her work by the evening. So here then after from July to January, which is an unseasonal, so here this Rajeshwari is a member in the self-help group. So as she is a member in the self-help group in their locality, so here through this self-help group the government will provide her with a compensation in case of a death or a major injury while she is in work. And she is also a part of the group that works under a mason. So a mason is a person who works with a stone. So here she is also a member in this under this mason, who works under this mason. So here there are 6 to 10 workers under each mason. So here if you observe this, Narsimha and Rajeshwari are illustrative examples of workers employed in organized and unorganized sector respectively. So here you can understand the differences in these work conditions. So here if you observe in organized sector, according to this Narsimha example, so here in organized sector all the rules and regulations are arranged properly and systematically. So here they follow these rules and regulations. So here once they join in job, so here they will be getting the appointment letter, and also they'll be getting a paid holidays, and also their working hours are fixed, and he is having a motorbike, so here he travels by his own vehicle to his office. So every Sunday he'll get a holiday. So here there is a work continuously in organized sector. And if you look at the Rajeshwari work, as she works under the unorganized sector, so most of the people who will be working in unorganized sector are laborers. So here, like she has to start from her house by 7 a.m. and she used to go by bus. She is not having any personal vehicle, and she'll be not getting the work on the regular basis. So when there is a work, like she'll work, and when there is no work, she has to remain calm. So here like she'll be getting the wages on regular basis. By the evening as she finishes her work, she'll get her wages, and even their wages are very low wages were paid, and they'll be not having any paid holidays, and they'll be not having any provident fund and medical allowances, such as like medical allowances, provident funds and other allowances will not be paid in the unorganized sector, and there were no rules and regulations systematically followed in unorganized sector. But if we observe here, as we have understand the difference between this organized and unorganized sector, so here 92% of the workers in India are found in working in the unorganized sector, and only 80% of the population are working in the organized sector. So this is what the difference between the organized and unorganized sector. So here how to create an employment opportunities, and create a more and better conditions of employment. So here in India the population is very high. So here 92% of GDP from the unorganized sector, then the organized sector the India is getting. So here now here there are three sectors in the or in the service sector. Here if we observe, more people are engaged in unorganized sector, and they are contributing more GDP to the nation. That is 92% of the GDP is getting from this unorganized sector. Okay, so here like how to create the better opportunities, better conditions, employment conditions. So here like the human beings are should be developed first, and if these all things has been developed, humans have to be developed first. So if the government could provide them with such a facilities, like providing, if you take the example of a Gayatri, if the government could provide her family with a, as she comes under the agriculture agriculture background, so here if the government could provide provide them with a good fertilizers, and by constructing the dams and providing the loans to buy the equipments required to do the good agriculture. And even the government can provide them the seeds, credits, and the government can look for constructing dams and the lake, and also the check dams to store the water. And so here the government can provide the new employment opportunities to all the people to work effectively. I hope this video will be helpful to many of the students. Thanks for watching. So please wait for the next video. Until then, bye bye.